I am Viktoras Kulvinskas. I was born in Lithuania. Just like Ann Wigmore, I had the good fortune of having been given birth by a mother, but my grandmother was the one that raised me. Very much versed in the ancient ways that, of course, I forgot easily enough. But Ann Wigmore came into my life as my third mother. She gave birth another dimension, a place that was already alive in me, the natural way, the way that you could still be in civilization and at the same time function in your most optimal way. In our days, of course, it was very difficult. A college nutrition department head of a Harvard Medical School, he wrote a book called The Nuts Among the Berries, which was a writing about our orientation. Nuts referring to stupid or insane. It was very fortunate that several years later, after I spent with Ann Wigmore a couple years at Harvard Medical Library and getting an education about their research, I managed to have Ann Wigmore and myself on national television, Channel 7. Well, the head of nutrition department, Fred Stair, had to eat his words, and they were vegetarian. Because he had no science behind the nutritional programs that he was propagating in United States. Nature is the answer. And now, Ann Wigmore's initial pioneer research, which took place at a time of revolutionary activities in America. We had, at that time, the civil rights activists. We had the Vietnam War. We had the gay liberation. We had the flower children hippies with all the wheat grass at that time, which what happened over the next generation, the marijuana became a background. Instead, the wheatgrass won out. Now it is getting high on wheatgrass. The transformation has been significant. We came at a time, if they only recognized us for what we were, Ann Wigmore and myself would have been assassinated. We were the true revolutionaries. We changed what is going on in the kitchen, in the marketplace. Now, after 2 generations, veganism is predominating as a healing art form. The medical community, Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine.org, PCRM.org, which many of the doctors came to. Initially, it was called Rising Sun Christianity, Ann Wigmore's Institute, which we co-created the Hippocrates Health Institute. After my scientific contributions, following the Ann Wigmore's philosophy, because for her, the bookish learning was not of great interest. She was result-oriented, a scientist of the truest sense. But I was an academic person coming out of theoretical background in mathematics, nuclear physics, and entered into this arena. I wanted science. Ann Wigmore gave me half of the day in the library. The other day, I worked in the labor camps of Ann Wigmore. And that meant no coffee breaks. Ha, ha, ha. You worked your butt off with Ann. And I loved every moment. There was, with her, she was fired up with wheatgrass implants, which is basically rectal injection of wheatgrass juice, which usually with individuals who want to cheat, whether it was on the Olympics or other competitive events, they got a shot of it both rectally and orally. That improved the performance by about, many attested to this, by 10 to 20%. That is for breaking records. And we will see with the Ann Wigmore's, the Living Food Program, we will see the 2-minute mile broken. It will be in our generation in the track. Already, the strongest man in the world, and also the wisest, is a vegan. He's called Little Hercules. You can find them on the internet. And now the marathon, namely the Ironman, again, a vegan. Veganism is the trend. We worked hard to make it when nobody believed in us. We believed in ourselves. Ann Wigmore's one of the greatest contributions is to believe in your dreams. She was not a youngster when she took her public arena, a man's world, a woman who was kicked off from the marathons because she was a woman. It was believed that women could not compete in marathons. She ran. She was a pioneer, a gutsy woman. And her strength came from her meditation, her spiritual practices. And I was attracted by the pilgrimage out of the nutritional teachings that is found in the Bible, originating as far back as King Nebuchadnezzar. Certainly he was nobility, blue blood, whatever that. He became green blood by doing grasses. He ate grasses like the oxen in the fields, and he became well emotionally and physically, and ruled with great wisdom, because wisdom comes from the vegan kingdom. The power comes from the vegan kingdom. The strongest animals, are the green eaters. The most virile animals are the green eaters. They don't see aging the way the humans who are trying to live on the rest of the rainbow of colors, mostly black, brown, and white products. It creates weaklings who have to work extra hard, spends most of their life in trying to get healthy and trying to overcome what has been appropriately named Standard American Diet, which is an acronym for the word SAD, S-A-D. No wonder they need all the psychiatric drugs to have even a cheerful disposition. Whereas on living foods, you are in a neurological, electromagnetic field of high vital force and energy that gives you the kind of performance that everybody's striving for, yet it is so inexpensive and so readily available to everybody. For even at the Hippocrates Health Institute, which is carrying on and co-founded by Ann Wigmore and myself, and carrying on the Ann Wigmore tradition, which is predominantly of living food that is germinated, sprouted, soaked, seeds. Some of them have gone by way of growing with water and little sea salt, or others have been grown on soil, and you don't need feet of soil. Just a little bit, a half an inch will allow you to grow it. But you can also do it hydroponically. These are things that we pioneered. Prior to us, there was wheatgrass awareness from the Essene tradition and from several other traditions. Dr. Schnabel, who was both an agriculturist and one of the great nutritionists, and he was written up extensively in the medical journals. It was about wheatgrass, but it was wheatgrass in a field. Ann Wigmore brought wheatgrass to your home, made it cost-effective, devised efficient procedure. Most people would take a lot of land to grow what can be grown on a small little tray of soil in your own home. And then the simple way of germinating foods, and then taking your seeds by soaking them and getting rid of the poisonous components, namely enzyme inhibitors, phytates, oxalates. You are left now with something that is high enzymatically there, and it goes through changes, biological changes, that increases the nutritional content as well as the volume, so that from a pound of seeds mixed together that you can grow a beautiful salad in a matter of 3 to 7 days. Each day it becomes a different experience, and you are eating the freshest food that you could possibly have. Not only the seeds provide this protein resources, everybody's preoccupied with it. And we don't need it ever to have to kill anybody, whether it's your neighbor or your cat or dog or cow, in order to have enough protein. The protein is even provided if you live on a vegan diet. It is provided by the microorganisms. You have 20 times more microorganisms, probiotics, living in your body. And they take the nitrogen from the air and fixate it into amino acids and proteins, and you get 30 grams and more per day, free manna from heaven by way of probiotics. So eat your sauerkraut, make your sea cheeses, make all kind of fermented foods, and eat them inside. They do so much good for you. Vitamin B complex. I recall Ann Wigmore, we were in a basement of the mansion. It was like a dungeon, the basement. We had huge piles of dirt that was filled with worms and bacteria. And we would soak the wheat in buckets and grow the wheatgrass. And one day, I was very naughty and negligent, And that wheat was soaking for way more than 12 hours. I think it was soaking more like 36 hours. And Ann Wigmore caught me in that abuse of wheat, and she was starting to give me a scolding. But she noticed also that this bucket of wheat was alive. It was bubbling like champagne. And she grabbed a cup, dipped it into this liquid, and took a sip. And her face lit up. She said, and this was not whiskey either, or beer, no. She named it right at the point of birthing, Rejuvelac. This was the birth. We perfected and tailored it so that it was one other way of delivering a high enzyme solution, a fermentation, that anybody can be doing it. But of course, it has to be, whenever you're working with bacteria, there are the good guys and the bad guys. And you got to do it correctly. So if it smells lemonish, has a fragrance, and tastes good, you got Rejuvelac. If it smells bad, you got crap. And it should be composted. So, always use your judgment. Your Creator gave you your eyes to be attracted by beautiful colors that stand out in nature. It gave you your nose for the fragrance. It gave you also your taste buds. You might say, like some of these people, oh, it doesn't taste good. My God, you are still living in the internal, addictive, toxic taste bud composition. When you clean out your body, then the natural foods are exotic. Whether you are eating a dandelion or burdock or lamb's quarter, or you're eating leaves of spinach, buckwheat, sunflower greens, wheatgrass, they all have a vibrational quality that is so beautiful because you never overeat. But because you are consuming food that is not created by nature, you are always hungry for nutrients that are not found in man-made food. And there is an expression that I have used. 1 tablespoon is too much, 1,000 is not enough. Creates comfort food addiction and out of control eating, and we are seeing obesity that is out of control. It is getting where over 60% of our population, 40% of our youngsters are obese. And I worked in that area where some of our clients were 1,100 pounds. And we were able to help them to get results. But the biggest result was always teaching them the message of Ann Wigmore. Love yourself. Love yourself. You are, no matter what form you might be, no matter what is your education, no matter what is your financial status, by loving yourself, and doing the simple things like St. Francis said, do simple things and do them well, you will be able to be a self-realized individual. Each one of you, like Ann Wigmore, have come with a very special message, a gift to share with one another. Some of us have a bigger mission to play. Often such individuals have taken on a load of lot of restrictions and pain and suffering. Ann Wigmore did. I did. We came together, Ann Wigmore and I, me to serve and Ann Wigmore to lead. Ann Wigmore was reminiscent of our famous automobile manufacturer, Ford. Ford said, I don't know too much, but I can get volunteers who will take care of the details. Ann Wigmore had volunteers that was coming out of the woodworks of all kind of not only financial backgrounds, but also of educational backgrounds, ready to move on this extremely high cost of world salvation. Because you talk about extinction of species. Well, the human species, unless it goes in the direction of what Ann Wigmore and many other pioneers propagated, namely return to respect and honor the laws of nature and to carry on activities that are sustainable, we will not have a future, but Mother Earth will survive and evolutionary species will come back once again to planet Earth. So don't feel sorry about Mother Earth. Start thinking about human species, and we can be the Lazarus, the Ann Wigmore's Lazarus, giving birth to a zombie nation, the planet of people who have lost the way in darkness. The light is right in front of you, and all you need to do is use prayers and meditation, and you will have the knowledge. I gained it as such, Ann Wigmore gained as such. We kept asking for guidance and truth, and so can you. Su meile, viskas galima padaryti, su tyla, viskas tau atsakymai ateis. Pasimatysim.
Ačiū Viktorai. Ačiū Viktorai. Rytoj Viktoras dar kalbės visą valandą. Prašom, rytoj susitikimas su Viktoru. Ačiū Viktorai. Ačiū Jums labai, Viktorai. Ačiū dar kartą. Gal atsistokim salėje, padėkokim šitam žmogui. Jis yra viso pasaulio sveikatinimo pradininkas. Pažiūrėkit, kaip jo draugai. Ačiū Viktorai. Be galo jaudinanti Viktoro kalba.
Thank you. Thank you. Ačiū.